Yo, Andy, I need another set of headphones. There's only one in here.
They done jacked them all?
They jacked them all, bro. Thank you, brother. I just do this. Bow. Bada bing. What up, what up, what up? I said, what up?
710 freeway out of Long Beach with a backup from Rosecrans. Ahead, there's a crash reported, and it's just past Imperial Highway. So that's adding to that very slow drive. Also slow is the 105 in both directions between the 605 and the 710.
Enjoy a revolutionary shopping experience. Wild Fork Foods Meat and Seafood Market has unbelievable prices with impeccable quality. From farm to freezer, premium meats and seafood, everyday grocery staples, and meal solutions. Visit wildforkfoods.com.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night.
What up? I need everybody to hit that like button. Let's go. They don't have no Lysol. Can I get y'all to hit that like button for me, please? Only 6 likes. Let's get in the algorithm, please.
The episodes that we did this season were How Love Begins, and then Getting to I Do, right? Getting down, yeah, something like that. And then the most recent one, Accountability. We'll talk about that later. Getting to I Do, something interesting happened that I saw in the reaction to that episode. We're going to show a clip of Duvall talking about Khadeen, but there was what I saw on Twitter, a lot of people found it. Now, sometimes we get the bitter single chick people, guys and girls, who are like, why do people have to go through things to realize, what matters to them? Personally, I feel like that's life, right? Like, sometimes you go through things and you realize who's important to you, you realize, what you need in life, you realize who's been there, all of that. I want to share this clip of Duvall talking about Khadeen and a difficult time that he went through, and sort of go from there.
4 surgeries in college. She was there every surgery. She took care of me. She helped me through everything I had. She taught me how to read my DAR. I never had to see my academic advisor because she taught me how to do all these things. I graduated with 3.2 GPA. Like, she was just there. So when I moved to Detroit and I didn't have her that first year in the NFL, I suffered from depression. I ended up becoming addicted to pain meds.
And at that point, he was almost like in cold sweats in the bed. He was like crying. And that was so much not like him. Like, anyone who knows his personality, he jokes, he laughs all the time. Like, you can see what I had to deal with on a daily basis. So I knew something was wrong deep down and I couldn't tell. And that's when he pretty much came out and told me what happened. And we kind of got him help with that. And once that was, we were past that hump, oh, babe.
Every time I talk about it, that was a dark time for me. People don't understand it. You make it to the NFL, you got money, there's women, you live in a nice house, everybody's cheering for you, and you're just not happy. And every day you in the NFL, it could be your last day. You just don't know if they're going to come in there and say it's your last day. And then you go home, and it's you in an apartment.
Yeah, he didn't have anything out there. So once I graduated, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take some time and come out there. And at the time, I was looking to start my career. I got back too. Yeah, you was. I was like, who is this person?
I just didn't know. A lot of it was just a pain medication. I didn't know what was wrong with myself. I felt like I lost myself. I'm my best self when she's here with me. My best season was in 2007. The whole off season, she was with me.
That was a great year.
I balled out the whole off season.
I
ended up tearing my knee, and I was on the PUP list, and I ended up not playing the whole season. But they kept me on the active roster the whole year. I did that good, and I just felt like it was all because I had her. Like, I don't know what it's like to be single as an adult because she's been here every step of the way.
Right.
And I don't want to know. This stuff isn't easy to talk about.
Man, oh man, Shevitz. Happy Juneteenth, 4th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. It's the VOR. But if you're listening to the brother talk, yes, there's a bond between him and his woman, and yes, she's very supportive, but you're also picking up maybe some type of insecure attachment, some type of codependence, maybe. Let's get into tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is really based on the holiday. Black people, African Americans, are some of the most traumatized people on planet Earth. But we also have some maladaptive ideas and concepts about how to deal with that, right? Many of us fear the doctor. Many of us fear the psychiatrist, the psychologist, right? Because we're traumatized. Many of us were raised by parents who thought shame was an effective tool to rein in a wayward child. Shame and guilt. Many of us have gone to churches and mosques and, any other temple where that same toxicity looks like comfortable authority, trusted authority. Tonight's topic, Juneteenth love. What? Yes, Juneteenth love? Is that even a thing? Juneteenth love is not a celebration, it's a confrontation. What if real emancipation, right? Or the real Emancipation Proclamation, right? What if that document must be signed by our nervous system, right? right? Black love today is haunted by plantation ghosts who whisper that closeness is captivity and softness is suicide. We inherited intimacy, criminalized tenderness. This is such a deep topic for me because let me just get transparent. I struggle from the same things most of my people struggle from, right? We're all trying to make something of ourselves in this society. And sometimes it's very difficult to allow people in, right? Why? Because we spend most of our time trying to build a life that is enjoyable, that is free of conflict. But conflict seems to find us wherever we go. As some of the most traumatized people on planet Earth, yes, it lives in our DNA. Black love today is haunted by plantation ghosts who whisper that closeness is captivity and softness is suicide. Look at our men. We don't know anything about the Tao Te Ching, right? The Tao, right? Which is that Cantonese word that means the way, right? That's just another term for God. The Tao, the way. The Tao is all about softness. But the way men like me, men in our society, black men, we fear softness, we fear closeness. We inherited intimacy criminalized, tenderness lynched, and vulnerability weaponized. What if your avoidant partner isn't cold, but coded by ancestral terror? What if your anxious, preoccupied partner, right, is chasing because they're coded by ancestral terror? What if your fearful avoidant, i.e. disorganized partner, brother, sister, right? What if they are coded by ancestral terror? What if hyper-independence is fugitive strategy, masquerading as strength? We do not merely date, we reenact. Struggle love is not romantic, it's re-enlisted trauma. Until we grieve what was stolen and integrate or interrogate what was inherited, our relationships remain rituals of remembrance, not liberation. Juneteenth isn't about freedom papers coming late. It's about finally learning to touch without flinching. Can we love without the lash? What are the lasting effects of slavery on African Americans' mental health, self-esteem, and interpersonal relationships, as well as intrapersonal relationships? How does ancestral memory live within the body's attachment system? And can a nervous system still flinch from the whip of a forgotten master? If love was once punishable by death, how does this soul who has descended from that torture learn to feel safe within intimacy? What if generational mistrust of partnership is a perfectly logical adaptation to centuries of relational disruption? Can a heart born from auction blocks ever trust that it is not for sale? It's Juneteenth. This means something. Let's go deeper. I need you to hear that again. Can a heart born from auction blocks ever trust that it's not for sale? Could transactional relationships, right, be a descendant of this trauma? 1-800-920-1580. Does Black love begin with healing or with remembering? How does one discern between trauma bonding and spiritual soul tethering when both emerge from pain? Might the hyper independence, often valorized in Black women, be a disguised trauma contract to never be owned again? Could some Black men mistake control for connection because their lineage equates vulnerability with castration? Is sexual hyper-expression among descendants of slaves a sacred reclaiming of the erotic or a ritual reenactment of commodified desire? Where's Lotto's Brokey? Where's Nicki Minaj's rich sex? I need to know. Is the soft life born out of this too? If the first model of intimacy was rape, ownership, and reproduction, how do we redefine consensual closeness today? Do we mistake chaos for chemistry when our emotional imprints is mapped by historical rupture? Can freedom feel unfamiliar enough to be misread as abandonment? Juneteenth love. We act like many white folk act. That was 150 years ago. Nobody that was there then, or, here now, like, why y'all complaining? Why y'all tripping? All we got to do is make bread and build together. We gonna be good. You don't even know what's lurking in your spirit. Juneteenth love delves into this intriguing exploration of epigenetic slave intimacy and its profound impact on contemporary modern Black relationships. What are the epigenetics of enslaved love? How generational trauma shapes Black intimacy today? Oh, man, this is heavy. Right? Emotional detachment and hyper-independence are survival adaptations, not personality flaws. The soul questions whether true freedom includes the right to trust again. Cellular memory retains encoded grief from ancestral bondage. Avoidant attachment in Black couples can reflect inherited PTSD, not compatibility. Oh my goodness. Attachment under oppression, how slavery rewired the Black nervous system to fear love. Love was once a lethal liability, so intimacy feels like danger. When I come forward, the voice of reason will continue burning this house down.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers.
Yo, what up, what up? What is going on? YouTube is on our head again. We got to have at least 35, 40 people in here. That's why everybody's got to hit the like button. Everybody's got to hit that like button. Everybody's got to hit that like button. While there's just a few people in here, can we all hit the like button? No hesitation. 3 more people. YouTube is preventing people from coming in here. There's 74.4 thousand subscribers to this channel. There's no reason it should only be 20 people in here. None whatsoever. I use SEO optimized titles when I put in the description. So it should automatically get into the algorithm. You wanna dig? What up, y'all? Y'all good? How's y'all Juneteenth? What up, what up, what up? Well, yeah. Definitely true. For sure. Hey, but thank you guys for coming in and hitting that like button. We got 21 likes and 22 people, so I'm appreciative. What up? Y'all good? Who's gonna call in today? Can I get my people to talk to me? Y'all got questions? What up, neighborhood superstar? Let's get a roll call. Who's all in here? Put your city and state. Can I get a roll call? Who's in here? I know Houston, Texas is in here. Maybe Atlanta, Georgia. What you looking for? You the question and the answer.
that much more needs to be known out here in the world about what is going on in the United States, because the United States government always projects this image throughout the world that it is a champion of human rights. And the reality of that situation is that the United States is the biggest violator of human rights, not only in the United States, but all over the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, the VOR back in the building. We got one of them ones, one of them topics tonight. It's Juneteenth. Black people should be advocating for mental health services worldwide. That was the great Queen Asada breaking it down. I'm going to tell you right now, we should all be in therapy. We should all have a guru, a shaman, a reverend, pastor, bishop. We should have all of these tools to heal what we still carry in our genetic makeup because of what we've been through in America. You can't just get money and have a happy relationship. That's not how relationships work. Relationships are about self-confrontations. You cannot be accountable unless you are comfortable with confronting yourself and owning your stuff. Yes, it's difficult to do, but relationships are designed to put you square in front of you. We got a lot of NFL players. We got a lot of football players and basketball players. We got a lot of entertainers, people who got money, and they think money will help them individuate. I'm going to tell you right now, Carl Jung, individuation, merging the shadow with your mask, all that is ancient spirituality. That's all it is. The Buddhist said it was nirvana. No, the Hindu said it was nirvana. The Buddha said it was moksha. What is moksha? What is nirvana? The annihilation of the ego. What happens to you when you're traumatized? Typically, you merge, right? That happening, that event into your sense of self. And that makes it almost impossible to annihilate. This is why the Hindu always talked about having a state of no mind. No mind. What does that mean? No filter, no psychological past. You're in the newness of the now, the perpetual infinite newness of the now. We can't do that because it's still in our genes. How do we rewire the genes? Attachment under oppression, how slavery rewired the black nervous system to fear love. Right? If love is liberation, then inherited terror is a form of bondage. The nervous system is the altar where ancestral wounds still pray for peace. Neurological imprinting from intergenerational trauma can mimic personality disorders. Oh, but I got bread. Oh, I got some paper though. You're still sick spiritually. How do you think your relationship is just going to be happily ever after and happy from that point? The relationship is the hospital. When we come forward, the VOR, we're going to keep cooking. You better get on them phone lines.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams.
I'm Amber Payton with CIA News Now. Former President Barack Obama says the U.S. is dangerously close to autocracy. Speaking in Connecticut, he warned against normalizing one-person rule. He called the current climate inconsistent with democracy.
Right. What up, y'all? Are we cooking? I'm pushing for the likes. Please show your love for this content by simply liking the video.
Another nationwide demonstration on July 17th honoring Black civil rights icon John Lewis.
Yes, Eugene, yes. I'm asking you guys, get involved. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. If you're not getting notifications, unsubscribe and resubscribe. We got to keep pushing this content. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm staying on point. What up, y'all? We still need those likes. 4 people haven't hit the like button. Zoe's Soul Food Kitchen is open. Let's eat and share. Exactly. Trauma love shouldn't even be a thing, but it is. Yeah. True, Third Eye. Good luck ripping their ego from that. You're 100% right. Relationship ICU. I love that. True. Zoe been cooking for years, and you've helped me substantially in my life. I appreciate that, D Young 86. Take your shoes off in the dojo. Still 5 more people. Hit that like button. It's 34 people and 29 likes. Mr. Booby, what up? Zoe, what up, sir? I know y'all like that first Nas track, right? Y'all gonna love my playlist tonight, I think. Maybe. If your feet stink, keep them on, no. 31 people, 29 likes. Ida, glad to be here. We glad to have you. If you're just coming in, hit the like button and show your love and support for this channel. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Nzinga, Pensacola, Florida. What up? The game is over, Zoe? What do you mean? We'll get some foot powder. Come on, 5 more people. I need y'all to hit that like. Oh, we're almost there. 32 people hit the like button. We got 34 people in there. They are down by almost 30 with about a quarter to go. I'm not even concerned about the game, Michael. Of course, it's over. Uh-oh, we 33 and 33. I think what we're talking about here tonight is much more important than the NBA. Hey, let's all shout out Lloyd Hinton. Lloyd Hinton just hit my Cash App. That's the first Cash App of the show. I appreciate it. Lloyd Hinton, thank you. Everybody say what up to Lloyd. Lloyd just hit us with a Cash App. If you want to support the channel by dropping a little something on the Cash App, the Cash App is $Zoe What Netter. $Zoe What Netter. Please show your support if you can. Support, support, support. I'd appreciate whatever you could do. Thank you, Lloyd. once again, this is it. Turn it up. Here we go. I want to know who picked Wilson's pockets, if they wrecked it, in fact they shocked it. Same kind of thing they do with James Brown. And was a bit red, was a shame. The bigger the black is, the bigger the pants want a piece of that booty. When else I'll return. I refuse to be a hoe who sold the soul.
Disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. When the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women.
Yee, the legend. Come on, man. Come on. Who want to talk about it tonight? We're talking about Juneteenth struggle love. Free for 3 years, basically. And somebody came with the message later on. They didn't care about your freedom. As soon as the 4 million slaves were freed, right? They were already looking for ways to try to censure them and imprison them and put them back into plantations. They were already looking for ways. You were just freed. But now you walk in the street, so we're going to arrest you for vagrancy. We're going to put you on chain gangs. Or we'll send you back to the plantation. Now you're indentured servitude. Come on. We have the black laws. You better have a job. Wait a minute, I was just a slave 2 weeks ago. Black laws came before Jim Crow. Wait. Hundreds of years of slavery. Then we transition out of slavery into the black laws. Then we transition out of the black laws into Jim Crow. Then we transition out of Jim Crow into redlining. Come on. All this is happening. I don't really want you to be free. How do you think that has affected your ability to love your woman, to love your man? From strong or from scarred to strong. Rethinking the strong black woman's or the strong black woman as a trauma inheritance. Should we do that? From scarred to strong. Rethinking the strong black woman as a trauma inheritance. Yes, some of the people who are advocates of the soft life may say, this is where it's coming from. We need to be soft again. We need to be taken care of so that we can be soft again. Right? Emotional suppression often masks unprocessed grief and hyperfunctioning. Strength without softness can become spiritual martyrdom. This archetype is a karmic loop embodied performance for survival's illusion. Caretaking is often a symptom of developmental neglect and fawn response. Do you hear what I'm saying? Are you listening to what I'm saying tonight? If black people want to use the temple of relationship to escape the temple's purpose, we're going to perpetuate these traumatic intragenerational trauma bonds. That's what we're going to do. The temple of relationship is designed for you to take responsibility of what is fractured within you. Freedom from flinching, reclaiming intimacy after generations of emotional exile. Safety must be felt, not just declared, especially in love. The problem is the way we've adapted to all of this trauma is it becomes an expectation of the other. We don't understand that we have the capacity and the ability to cultivate safety from within. But it's in the beginning, it's going to hurt because it requires you looking at yourself. It requires you going in and excavating your spirit, taking responsibility for broken patterns that were modeled after generations of broken parents. Oh man, how do you just do that stuff by yourself? Sometimes listen, it's not about you doing it by yourself. It's about you recognizing that something might be off. Something might be ajar in your spirit. Do you see? Then go get help. Freedom without flinching. Reclaiming intimacy after generations of emotional exile. Vulnerability becomes revolutionary when fear has been institutionalized. Listen, we have institutionalized genetic fear. Right? Now flip it back. All these years, all these centuries of abuse, of neglect. Right? And we go to the same people for help. We go to the same people for validation. We don't have our own, listen to what I'm going to say it now. We don't have our own definition of love. Your education is approved by them. Your level of success, the benchmark has been established by them, the ruling class. Your sense of honor and dignity and class is established by them. Your highest form of creativity was born out of the trauma they implanted in your seed, in your souls. See? Juneteenth is not just political. It is a spiritual reactivation of the heart chakra that had to be closed down in order to survive. Just like a child being raised in a dysfunctional parent's home, they shut down parts of themselves so they can make it to the next moment. Healing requires trauma-informed relational therapy, not romantic performance. Romance, the antics of the Romans. You didn't write it. The Romans stole it from the troubadours. The troubadours were in the halls of the Moors in ancient Spain when black folk ruled Spain for 800 years. That's where romance is born. But you are performing their remix of what was initially your lifestyle. Leisure, education, and rule. Okay, can I say it again? Leisure, education, and rule. That's what the Moors did with ancient Spain. They came in, they were invited in by the Spaniards. And what did they do? They built bathhouses and libraries and ruled. You don't even remember that. All you know how to do is perform romance. You don't even have your own original idea of it anymore. And in every relationship you put yourself in, you're looking for somebody to be a relational multivitamin for a broken parent. They got to come in and supplement what you didn't get from your mama now. Most of us are suffering from emotional fugitive syndrome, right? How black avoidance patterns mirrors the logic of escape. Avoidant attachment may echo ancestral flight from harm. The heart runs not from love, but from its historic consequences. We're talking about Juneteenth love tonight. When I come forward, we're going to start opening up the phone lines for this national discussion to begin.
Reason. Are you tired of staying, stealing your shine? California Cleaners is where you go to rescue your wardrobe. They don't just clean, they elevate. Hand washing, crisp laundry, and precise alterations, all while keeping your wallet happy. Listen, all you gotta do is connect with them in the beautiful city of Inglewood. Whether it's grass-stained jeans, silk that's seen better days, or a hemline emergency before date night, you're on deck with California Cleaners, located at 1326.
I've already put on 6 pounds.
Hey, let's get the phone lines right. Yeah. Let's get the phone lines right. Let's get the phone lines cracking. We got one caller. I'm going to him right now. But let's get the phone lines cracking. Clean goatee. Yeah. I had to scrape it off. Man, I wonder who tunes in every day and just says nothing. Or do we have where lurkers in the background? Say what up. Say what up, Zoe. I feel what you putting down, dog. There we go. I love hearing it. I just be wondering, like, who are y'all? They still in games, huh? What up, Everett? Juneteenth barbecue. No, I didn't get no Juneteenth barbecue, even though they had barbecue at the cigar lounge where I was earlier. They had a whole event going. The playlist is crazy tonight, too.
Don't make the mistake that most of his mothers and fathers made. When I wake up in the morning, my prayers, and I thank God I woke up, the Ku Klux Klan woke up this morning. The drug pushers woke up this morning. I thank God that I made another 24 hours in the most vicious, nasty, hateful, insane nation that's ever existed with my wits, without hating, without being bitter, and without being mean. And I thank God that I survived 24 hours in that type of atmosphere with the type of amusement and friendliness. And so I would say to young folks, don't be in a state of denial of the racism and sexism, but don't let that block you. Don't teach your children that you have to be twice as good as a white. That's an awful thing to teach your children. That's like saying because you're black, white America has a right to change your dollar for 94 cents. But we used to get 50 cents, and before that we used to get nothing. Young folks have to say, we don't want more change for a dollar. Excuse me, we want a $4 change for a dollar, or this cash register will never ring again. Yes. I would also like for young blacks to understand that about 83% of all employment happen with small businesses. And excuse me, if you don't have a small business, then you have nobody to work for you. And I would say to young blacks, get into entrepreneurship. We will never catch up with white America until we get into business, because there's a thing called tax write-offs. And if you have a job and come together, 10 of you, and open up a corporation and have somebody run it, you hire somebody to run it, but you have tax write-offs. 98% of people that fly first class on airplanes would not be there if that wasn't a write-off. And yet, on that first class, they gave away last year $800 million, almost $1 billion of free whiskey. But if a welfare mother asked for some apple juice for the baby, she's laughed at. And so I would say,
Man, legendary Baba Dick Gregory. Man, I had the pleasure of having him on one of my podcasts, maybe 2015, 2016, and the brother's spirit, huh? Zoe, you listening to me? Huh? His spirit was so peaceful. And yes, he's aggressive. Yes, he gonna cuss you out. Yes, he was doing all, but he was so peaceful. I felt like a son or a nephew, or I felt like family. And what was cold about what he said to me, he was like, brother, he said, who did you have to talk to in order to get to me? I said, oh, I talked to your wife. He said, yes, little Gregory. She told me. She told me about your spirit. That's why I'm on this show. I said, woo. I said, okay, here we come on. And then he said, who is that? Who is the little Gregory in your life, brother? Then he said, tell me your birthday. I said, okay. He said, make sure the number of the day you was born and her number adds up to 9. He said, if it adds up to 9, it's divine. I said, whoa, come on. I said, come on, brother Dick Gregory. Listen, he said, anytime you need me, anytime. Huh? You listening? Huh? He said, anytime you need me, brother Zoe, you call little Gregory and tell her what the topic is, and I will be there. I said, man, thank you, elder. Thank you. But again, these voices have to be elevated. We got a lot of healing to do. It's easy to get into a relationship. In other words, it's easy to enroll in school, but it's hard to finish the course. And then even when you get a system on how to maneuver within the course, what have you retained? What knowledge have you learned that you can now apply to your life, apply to your community? Do you understand? We've got healing to do. We quick to celebrate something. How you celebrating in the middle of the process? I thought we were supposed to celebrate wins. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too harsh. I've been told I'm a little harsh, but that's fine. When we come forward, we going to Kansas City. That's what we gonna do.
To have a movement to rest.
Yo, hey, Andy, this one of them ones. This one of them ones. I just need 2 more callers. We got 2 on the line. Hey, the brother who was that? James. Let me say thank you, man, for the super chat. I'm thankful. That's our first super chat of the night. I'm thankful. I know bread is tight for a lot of people. I'm thankful. These shows, the topics, me and my niece, we be going back and forth, you know what I'm saying, on numerous conference calls throughout the day. We put in a lot of effort to make sure this shit popping the way that it's been popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had a topic for today, and then I just called her and was like, "No, I'm going in this direction." And she was like, "No pushback, no argument." My niece was like, "All right, cool. Boom. We going to that. Here goes some videos. That's what you talk about? All right, boom. Here you go. This is what we on." You see what I'm saying? So when people are quiet, I have to recontextualize that silence is loud. I had somebody tell me, "Sir, the shit you on radio is dynamic. Motherfuckers are in freeze mode." That's what they told me. They said, you expect people to call and engage, but a lot of times they're in freeze mode. Flight, fight, or freeze. I had to think about that.
Years, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I would like to kiss you. There's going to be a wall up there.
You told me you had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with a bad touch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my lips.
I'm a karate man. Karate man on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
How do you write women so well?
So William.
Reason and accountability.
The voice of reason.
But don't you think, Francis, that psychologically, if white women have been forbidden to black men by oppression, if the black man has access to the white woman, that will make him feel more psychologically free?
It will free them more. Let's say, for example, if you tell me,
He said psychologically free.
no, it's a fantasy, and then it's a psychosis. You
Yeah,
see that,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
In other
yeah,
words, if you
psychosis.
are operating, just like they tell us in
That means a
Chicago,
loss of
if
contact with
you
reality.
are functioning, if you are functioning on something that is not reality, then you've had it. Okay? Now, but this is something that the white supremacy system understands. You see what I'm saying? They understand when now we programmed these victims to feel that if they get a white woman, they will have it. Like a black cat told me who was graduating from graduate school at Harvard, that marrying a white woman was a part of the Harvard degree. In other words, I'm really in.
Ooh, Lord. Francis Cress Welsing. The elders are speaking tonight. The ancestors are speaking tonight. If you thought my Juneteenth show was just going to be all spiritual and psychological, no. We up in here tonight. It's a call to action. You want black love to break the bonds of black servitude. They told you before, the chains were taken off your hands and necks and feet and put on your minds. Who is the leading thought leaders in the world? Right? Who? Huh? You trying to tell me white supremacy does not use higher education as an extension of its dominance? When I create the math, when I create the philosophy, when I create the psychology, when I create, do you see? The narrative of the world is seen through my knowledge. And then you get a self-esteem boost when you can put a degree on your wall. That isn't to say that the accomplishment is for naught. What I'm saying is, when there is no sense of self, the definer of self typically is the controller of the society in which you operate as a cog. Get deeper. Get deeper. These are the same people who were conflicted in the early parts, in the early time of constructing this country. In one breath, all men are created equal. There's an inalienable right to be free. But they weren't talking about the other humans that they saw as furniture, that they saw as plows. Chattel slavery saw them as property. Do you see the cognitive dissonance? They're speaking these high, lofty, spiritual words that are based on freedom. But they weren't talking about you. Right? Fast forward to modern day. You think that has left your genes because they've gotten quieter? Michael Jackson drops the Off the Wall album. The album literally saves the music industry. Sold 14 million records in 79 and didn't win Album of the Year. Out of that trauma, out of that, we're not even going to acknowledge you. You're the best R&B album. What? Yeah, okay. Out of that rejection, fueled with anger and disappointment, I'm going to go back in the studio and I'm going to do an album so big, so massive, they can't deny it. The next one, 82, 3 years later, Thriller. And even then, the owner of CBS Records had to threaten MTV. We will pull all CBS Epic Record artists from your MTV roster if you don't play Michael Jackson. Do you see? Do you understand? You think that trauma doesn't live in your relationships, but it does. Your parents come from a lineage of brokenness. Yes, there are beautiful things about us. Yes, we're still creative. Yes, we're still loving and kind and caring. Yes, we have some good qualities, but we got shadow work to do. And we think doing well in a toxic society will erase all that. Been here for 3 years telling y'all the same thing, Krishnamurti. It is no measure of health to be fully or to be well adjusted in a sick society. Oh, you got two parents, but they have inherited silence. They have inherited silence. Why many black families confuse emotional distance with love. Silence was once safer than expression. It's now mistaken for stability. Can love survive if its native tongue is quiet in compliance? Suppressed truth becomes ancestral karma until someone dares to feel. Intergenerational emotional inhibition perpetuates attachment injuries across lifetimes. Have a baby. They're going to relate like you do. They're going to relate how you modeled how to relate. Relationship is where the intergenerational curriculum manifests itself out of the depths of the shadow that Carl Jung spoke of. You play that brokey record. You play that rich sex record. You play these records that talks about transactional love. You have no idea what love is. You don't know that love is God. Period. You've reduced it to transactionalism. It's a consciousness level that only yogis and sages and sadhus and mystics reach. The closest you got to love is a trip to the islands and detachment, because you want to do it again. Oh, man. Juneteenth love, struggle love. We're talking about it. We got callers on the line. I want to get them in here. Michael from Kansas City by way of Knoxville, Tennessee. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic, my friend?
I'm frozen, brother.
You frozen? You frozen?
I'm frozen.
Why are you frozen?
You're pretty deep, man. I mean, talk the depth and breadth of your conversation is not for the typical individual. I don't consider myself. I'm an engineer, so I'm a chemical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think about the things that go on in society, and because I think it's important to understand the environment in order to survive it. So I think about the things this present day, but that makes.
Wait, Mike. Hey, Mike, are you on Bluetooth or speakerphone?
I am. it off?
Yeah, you chopping up a little bit, and we want to hear you clearly, my friend. This is your first time calling in. I
Okay.
want to make sure everybody hears what you have to say. Please continue.
No, I was just going to say that, I'm pretty frozen by the depth and the breadth of your conversation.
Thank you, brother.
And it's very difficult. It's just a challenge for, typical individuals to don't think on the level that you think on a regular basis to follow you. But yeah, it's enlightening as well. And I was saying that I'm an engineer, so most of my life is thinking about things in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to, just like you mentioned, there's no real progress in life unless you have a knowledge of self, knowledge of the environment, and the history of the country, and to make sense of what's going on in modern day society.
Right.
And I think most people understand, whether you're super intellectual or not, you're just living in this experience. We understand that there is a system in place that's very anti-black, anti-African American, and that's the secular term. Systemic is a secular term for spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
There's the spiritual thing that's going on that's universal, that seeks our perpetual oppression and denigration. So I think it's important that we understand, some of the methods by which they've perpetuated our status. All the things you talked about, the different progression of racism from chattel slavery to sharecropping, all the different things you talked about, mass incarceration, redlining, all the different things that we've been through. I think one of the things that we need to look at now, and I'm simplifying this because you're a lot deeper than I could ever go at this point, but I'm simplifying this. I think what we need to look at now is the importance of faith rather than fear.
Go ahead.
The importance of faith and fear.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you look at a lot of the movies that are coming out now, especially those movies that are kind of Afro-centric or African-American centric movies, like this movie, I think it's called Sinners.
Sinners, yes.
It's really, all these movies that are coming out are either around violence, foolishness, or fear. They're meant to produce fear in the viewer, and that's something. And I don't know how religious you are, or spiritual you are, but one of the things that Yeshua talked about is when he returns, will he find faith upon the earth? Faith is what moves things. Faith is what changes things. Love is great. We need love, but faith is what brings the spiritual will into physical existence. So in order to make changes, we have to be a people that's not motivated by fear. We need to get away from that, and we need to start being motivated by faith, because faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. If we want to make a change in this society, we have to be a people that's motivated by faith, and that's what actually motivates, in my opinion, it motivates God to act on our behalf. When we exercise faith without works is dead. So, and one of the things we need to realize is that when we exercise that faith, we need to exercise our faith in a mindset that we are against a system, a spiritual system that's meant to oppress us. You have to gain knowledge. You have to gain knowledge and understanding, not only yourself, but your environment and the universal God that put us here. We are his people.
Yes.
I mean, there's no other way you can explain the things that we go through and the collective effort around the globe to oppress us, to make us look subhuman, and to denigrate us.
Right.
We are his people. And so we need to come into fruition of that by the acquisition of knowledge and changing our reality through faith.
Right. Man, Michael, man, I'm so glad you hung on the line, brother. Let me just say, man, I appreciate the insight you shared with us. You have a seat at the table, brother. Whenever you want to call in, please do so. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And guess what you just did, brother?
What's that?
You brought Kansas City in the building by way of Tennessee. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Look, when I come forward, If you think this show is over, listen, we just getting started. It's Juneteenth. Struggle love. Talk to me.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear.
That was a great call.
Inside the Voice of Reason with Phil Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
That was a great call. Can I get my folks to hit that like button, share, subscribe, super chat, which is the $ down at the bottom of the channel. If the information is moving you, you can go to my Cash App. Please support. Best way you know how. YouTube already played a game on us tonight, trying to limit the amount of people that come in here. Y'all, please support, all right? Hope is dependent on external forces. And then this is another thing I want you guys to understand about me. That brother was talking about faith. And, you know, some people agree, some people disagree. But listen, man, however you want to look at it, somebody said it was a wish, whatever. I'm going to say this. Whatever black folk believe in, we manifest. So I don't have a problem with him using the term faith. Whatever the thinker thinks, the prover will prove. As a man thinketh, so is he. That man said, I believe in faith. Okay, I could get, you know, theological and break down the language. Faith, iman, imani. This is amen. Fact beyond a doubt. Faith is not belief. Faith is, I could do all of that. It's needless to do that. It doesn't matter. What black people believe in, what we trust in, we manifest. So I ain't got to poke and nitpick. I don't have to do any of that. Because I understood what that man was saying beyond the word used. This goes back to Alfred Korzybski when he says linguistic maps. The map is not the territory. The word is not the essence of it. This is gonna be hard, but I'm God. I got the truth, so it's gonna get loose. Pick up the telephone, down some positive brother, try to join us and go home. It's the fair now. The death of love. But I strive all the time. Facts. I can tell you, my brother, black is back.
The Emancipation Proclamation is signed and goes into effect right in the middle of the Civil War in 1860. Correct. Does that change anything for your ancestors here in Texas? No, they were still doing the same thing. There was nothing changed. And of course, during that time, there wasn't no Wi-Fi or all that stuff going on. So they did not have a tool. They did not have a tool.
So when does that change?
Yeah, it changes in 1865 when Gordon Granger came to Galveston. And that's when they all got a chance to go give that little speech.
I've never met someone like Lawrence. He knows exactly who enslaved his family and when they were. As we sit on the porch his ancestors built, I can feel his sense of ownership of the place.
And how knowing his history has empowered him and his family to create a home here, to both mourn the past and celebrate freedom. Seminary professor and historian Carrie Lattimore shares with me the context in which General Granger arrived in Galveston in 1865, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
The Emancipation Proclamation is an interesting document. Number one, it's a presidential proclamation, so its lifespan could be the next president. But at the same time, it excludes initially the states that did not secede.
Right.
And so those people who lived in those states who were enslaved were excluded. But after that January 1st date, when it goes into order, when the Union Army goes, it's like a freedom force. And where they travel, freedom is going with them. Unfortunately, the currently adopted Texas school books say that slave owners voluntarily emancipated their slaves once they learned about the proclamation. Well, no, first of all, they already knew about it, and they voluntarily did it because there were guns pointed at them. Let them go. So, okay, well, just playing. The soldiers didn't come here to inform, they came here to enforce.
That's good. There you go. Sharon Gillens, a Galvestonian genealogist, brought me to the exact spot where the words of absolute equality were first heard. Her description of the reaction to those words helped me visualize what that day looked like.
You can just imagine. You find out you're free, there's a party on every corner, of course. As soon as the dock workers saw that ship pull in, there was dancing on the docks, of course. And they went out, spread out, and let everybody know that the troops were here.
That must have been quite a sight, you think?
When you think about the population of Galveston was supposedly around 10,000 people. And you got 6,000 soldiers there, It's like almost everybody had their own soldier. To tell them, okay, we got them.
And then 4,000 of those soldiers would have been black.
Right.
And many of them, the African-American population in Galveston, they had never seen a black soldier. Now you see thousands of them.
Think of if you were on the field and you see this, a force of black men entering into where you are. You've never seen anything like that. You've never seen a black person in any sense of authority. But now, that's inspiring, isn't it? That's transformative. We think that Barack Obama becoming president, think about what that meant to so many African Americans. They say, to see a black man in that position, I would argue this was even more true.
Juneteenth love. That's what we're talking about. Yes, it's good to celebrate that we've made it to 2025. But what kind of home are we going home to? What kind of love is waiting on us there? Is it love or is it insecure attachment? Is it love or is it non-individuation? Do you understand? If your children are your legacy, don't let your insecure attachment wound be an heirloom passed down. Don't let non-individuation of yourself. They need to model something. Let them model the whole you, not the fragmented mask that you gotta keep putting makeup on and glue and keep fixing it up. Stop it. We got to learn how to love beyond the lash, the generational whip. Can black relationships transcend historical pain and genetic mistrust. Chronic mistrust isn't cynicism, it's conditioned alertness. Think about being brilliant during those days. And the instinct of your mother is don't show them your brilliance. Because if you stand out, if you are more intelligent than them, they will kill you. Don't show them your talent. Don't show them your skill, your humor. Don't show them the sparkle in your eye that lets me know God lives in you, boy. That's been passed down. Trust is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to risk anyway. The soul knows how to love, the body must remember how to receive. You see? EMDR and neurobiological repatterning may be essential to healing historical mistrust loops. Many of you don't even know what a mistrust loop is, but you're attracted to it. You think it's cute. You think it's edgy. It's part of what makes them attractive to you. Oh, my goodness. Juneteenth as relational liberation. Why can't we look at it that way? A sacred template for intimacy, not just freedom. True freedom is the capacity to co-regulate emotionally with one another. Emancipation means nothing if the emotional psyche is still shackled. Juneteenth energy invites the alchemy of sorrow into sacred union. We got work to do. When I come forward, back to the phone lines. While T.O. is parting like the Red Sea, what did I do? Can I get you guys to at least tell me? Because I got my family, the regulars, my folks that are always in here chatting. Can I get some of y'all to share? Share? I mean, people who don't normally share, people who are in the background. Can I get y'all to share? Mike shared. Michael from Kansas City called in and shared. Can I get some of you guys that are in the background that are not talking, that are listening? I want to know what you think. I hope so. I hope so. King Joseph, my brother, I know you in here. Is that true, Third Eye? Is that true? Is that what happens? My bad if that's the case. That's not what I want. Beautifully enlightened. Respect. Roy Montana, I'm good. To be hostile, man, my people being persecuted. Run a power move on 'em. Hold the mic device with force. I keep it away, of course. And I'm keeping you from sleeping. And on the stage of rage, and I'm rolling. And on the metaphor, give a thought. Consider it done by the prophets of rain. I roll with the people till I survive. Turn a rock cause it keeps the crowd alive. I'm not balling, just calling. But I pass the days of yes, y'all. Around the bump, you jump up. In my words, my birds, and get juiced up. The prophets of rain. So bad that I'm starving. I'm like Garvey, so can you see me? Like that, I'm like that. Leave me the hell alone. You don't think I'm my brother? Then check my chromosome.
And there's a couple whose set point is one where they are friends and they do talk and share vulnerably about what's going on, and they feel like they can be accepted and that their partner is going to make room for them. You know, there's that connection. But then there's the couple who care for one another, love one another, but they don't necessarily share their feelings, their innermost thoughts and feelings. And they're not necessarily willing to risk sharing when they're not satisfied with some things, or that they're really tired of certain things. They have go along to get along. And that has been oftentimes learned. It's learned behavior. And that kind of behavior, if one partner has that, and especially if two people has it, keeps people in a place of emotional disconnect. But if that was what you learned, and if that is your set point, that's your baseline, you don't even know, oh, there's more? There's more to this relationship that I can have.
Man, we in here cooking tonight. Juneteenth love. It's the 4th anniversary of KBLA Talk 1580. Hard to believe that 4 years have passed that quickly. Man, and tonight's topic is apropos. Juneteenth love. What ancestral baggage lingers, right, from those times of oppression? How do they manifest themselves in modern day relationships? As the clip spoke to, how do Black lovers avoid becoming emotional proxies for one another's unseen lineage? Could codependency in Black relationships be mistaken for loyalty because trauma trained us to merge for safety? Is healing in African American relationships more about remembering than reinventing? If no one modeled tenderness, can it still be safely performed, or must it be excavated? Is emotional enmeshment in Black families an unconscious rebellion against state-sanctioned separation? Might generational grief prevent many black couples from celebrating love without anticipating loss? Anticipatory grief is a way of life for black people. We might not be grieving in this moment, but we know grief is around the corner. That's a trauma response. Do we protect ourselves from love or from the grief of its impermanence? If systemic racism weaponizes economics, how often do black couples fight about scarcity instead of compatibility? These are the real questions. I told you relationship was a school. It's too important to drop out. Listen, we got callers. Let's get them in here. Let's go. Attila from Houston, Texas, you're on the line. What are your thoughts about tonight's topic?
Tio,
What up, niece?
what's going on?
Talk to me. Just tell me. What do you think about what we're talking about tonight, child?
Well, I would like to piggyback a little bit on Michael's call because I thought it was really dope. I think our community possesses a lot of faith, but we lack follow through.
Houston in the house. Come on.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay. Obviously, I heard you talking this about the millennials the other night. I'm gonna let that slide. But I'm gonna say, I do feel like the millennial girlies and the Gen Z girlies have done a really good job of essentially saying what they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want the struggle of love. We don't want divorce, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's nice. But I think we put a little bit too much energy into what we don't want instead of expressing some of the things that we would like, right? So if I'm really against struggle love, then that would mean that I'm for authenticity, I'm for accountability, I'm for integrity, right? All these nice things. But none of that has anything to do with my comfort. So when I hear messages that address the struggle love aspect, but there's this like veneer of comfort, i.e. the soft life message, or heck, even if you want to talk about the passport, bros, it's like, okay, at a certain point, you have to understand that growth is anything but comfortable. So if you want the authentic love, you have to heal the shame wound. If you want the accountable love, you have to heal your pride. If you want the integral love, you have to speak truth to yourself, even when you don't want to hear it. And notice I said yourself, because my first reaction as an unhealed person is going to be to speak truth to you. Well, if you would, well, it would be nice if this happened. Or even if I'm more direct, I don't like this. That's nice and all, but that has nothing to do with me and my inner work. So I think just keeping a right perspective, but understanding that, again, yes, you can have the faith, but you also need the action. To Third Eye's point in the chat, that's really what that is. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
I love it, child. Guess what you just did?
How about Houston in the building?
Houston, Texas is on the board. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me, 1-800-920-1580. That's the routine. Dial in and expand on this national discussion. Might the fear of generational cycles make perfectionism a relationship cancer masquerading as prevention? Is generational trauma romanticized in Black art? And does this inhibit relational evolution? When slavery normalized hypervigilance, is rest within a relationship the most revolutionary act? How do we distinguish divine masculine / feminine balance from patriarchal reenactment within African American spiritual unions? Oh, so many questions. Callers are on the line. I want to get to them. Let's go. Wait. When we come forward, the voice of reason will re-engage in the phone lines. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, how are you? Did you enjoy it? Was it lit?
It was.
Was the food popping?
Yes, definitely.
Damn it.
Real good.
Did they feed you right?
Yes.
Good.
Hello. They're about to be here in a minute. Yeah. Oh, you put that package on, that's yours. Thank you, thank you.
Hey, yo, this playlist tonight has been bonkers. The playlist has been crazy. Or at least for me, for my generation, it was crazy. Really. Tomorrow, I'm going to say that.
Now, we have a second symptom. The second symptom of pathology was gender. Black females were perceived to be irreligious, lustful, and immoderate. Well, that's convenient, isn't it? Let's take a look at that. We need to really take a look at this one, because I have a whole chapter on rape. Can't even get close to what that did to me. There were over, and comes out of a social work book. In a social work book, it states that there were over 600,000 mixed-race babies born. in the mid-1800s, based on the census. Now, this was during miscegenation. That means it's illegal to marry. So who was sneaking out back, and who was raping who? We have numbers. Young girls rarely made it to their teens before they were raped. But let's put that in perspective as a social science.
Listen, man, that's Dorsey High School's own Dr. Joy DeGruy, man. Author, just thought leader, genius, right? She's gonna. I'm hearing she's gonna be on Dominique DePrima's show tomorrow. A few years ago, she was on my show. Man, Dr. Joy DeGruy is not a game. L.A. That's L.A. Stand up, man. Listen, we out here tonight, man. We gotta end the night like this. A Juneteenth relationship show. No one's ever done it. VOR did. Y'all should tap in with, my girl, Dominique DePrima, tomorrow. Because Dr. Joy DeGruy is going to be on her show. Heavy hitter. You know what it is. Let's get these callers in here. We got to wrap it up. Very, very tight, guys. Got to wrap it up. Please make it concise. Let's go, let's go, let's go. John, Mountain View, Hawaii, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic? My brother. Yes.
Okay, concise. There's no test, or better yet, exclude the test, you won't have a testimony. In the word I'm impossible is I am, and you're possible. But at the same time, if we're going to use these very same words that we're talking about, struggle love, trauma bond, might be the bottom, but you're not dead yet.
Ooh, you can only go up, right? If you at the bottom, come on. I hear you.
End of mission. That's all I got. Blessings to you, Zo.
Love you, brother. You just brought Mountain View, Hawaii in the building. You already know if we bring Mountain View, Hawaii in the building, we got to come back home. South Central Los Angeles is in the house. J-Dub, you got to make it quick, brother. What are your thoughts?
Yes, sir. I try to make it brief and few minutes, man. Mike really caught my attention when he was just talking about how God can influence us, and I truly believe that, man. You know, faith without saying we walk by faith and not by sight. I believe the whole race of blacks can be inspired, make these old bones get up and move. No matter if we have physical, emotional, or whatever, historical, physical trauma bonds or whatever the negativity may be. I believe in the miracle power of God would just inspire us, man, because we're God's property. And once we realize at his time, the right time, he's going to move us and inspire us, and we're going to free ourselves, my brothers. Juneteenth is this something that's going to create a paradigm shift. We're going to get up and be a sleeping giant, bro. They've been taking candy from a sleeping baby for 400 years. We're about to take this by force. Man, I'm going to get off the phone. Have that.
I love it. You brought South Central Los Angeles in the building. He said, we're going to get up. We're going to rise up. And I know we will. Once we regain the knowledge of what relationship is for. It's for healing. You're broken in relationships, but you can also use relationships to heal. But you have to be willing to reveal. That which you conceal, right? That which you conceal will rise to the surface level of consciousness to manifest itself as conflict in relationship. Right? You have to be nude. Psychologically, spiritually, emotionally. And yes, many of us are fearful and afraid. So what do? We create all these coping mechanisms, all these boundaries that are co-written by fear and trauma. And we wind up insulating ourselves from our partner. So there's never really a true connection. Relationship is a spiritual temple where one comes to reconcile themselves. And it's important that we don't misuse it. I've misused it in the past. I've mishandled people I've dated. You know, I've been mishandled by people that I've dated. That's not what relationship is for. When we mishandle each other, that's mishandling the curriculum. That person reflects what you must claim as your own. What if intimacy itself, softness, surrender, safety, was once criminalized for black bodies and thus encoded as a threat within the nervous system? If love during slavery was punishable by separation, humiliation, or death, then how do we today, in the echo, the generational echo of those lashings, trust in vulnerability without flinching? Could the up with bros, down with 304s be a generational echo of that fear? Bros over 304s. I'm asking. 50 said, get the money, the women come with it. Or do rappers view beautiful women as chattel? Something to think about, right? Relational chattel? If I got the money, she gonna bend the knee. Did all of this create this transactional, I need to be safe because I come from a generations of the unsafe? This is something to think about, right? Contemporary black relationships do not begin at the moment of meeting. They began centuries ago, where intimacy was bent into bondage and connection was weaponized as control. The very premise of intrapersonal relationships is complicated when the self has been historically fragmented. In such a context, to know thyself becomes not only a spiritual imperative, but a radical act of ancestral integration. Juneteenth love is not just a celebration of political freedom. It is a metaphysical inquiry into whether relational freedom has ever truly arrived. Getting what your wounds want is not an example of a good relationship. Healing your wounds are. Should I say that again? We think if we could feed the... Don't you know a wound's appetite is insatiable? Right? It's insatiable. As Dr. Joy DeGruy's post-traumatic slave syndrome and Frantz Fanon's black skin, white masks suggest, the psychological wounding of slavery is not merely historical, it is neurological, behavioral, and intergenerational. If trauma is passed down in cellular memory, then love too must be epigenetically reconstructed. So tired of people saying, no, that ain't love. Love ain't this. Love is a verb. Love is... Listen, only broken people need. Only insecurity needs. Only fragmentation needs completion. Many African American intrapersonal conflicts, feelings of unworthiness, hypervigilance, emotional shutdown are not pathologies in the clinical sense, but survival algorithms inherited from those who endured the worst. Listen, I start the conversations. I don't purport anything I say as true. I'm just asking that you guys continue the conversation. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Juneteenth. I'm Zoe Williams, the VOR. I'll holler at you next week. Peace out, y'all. Love y'all. Deuces.